First thing you gotta do is take your seat off. Your hole right here, keyhole. Right on there, turn, that unlocks the seat. Next thing you wanna do is remove these 3 Allen heads and these 2 Phillips so you can remove this plastic fairing. All right, so after playing with it for a minute and figuring out how it comes off, there was also a little plastic tab that goes right there in that hole. Looks like this. And what you do is you push a screwdriver in that, and it pushes that up, and it allows you to get a flathead screwdriver underneath that and pop it down out. There's a tab right there and a tab right there, and it's on like this. And once you unscrew all that, this slides back, and then it comes out of those holes right there. Now to get this side piece of plastic off here, I've already messed with it, kind of just figured out how to do it. You have 1 pin there that goes into that little rubber grommet. And you got these 3 little plastic pieces here. 1, 2, 3. That just pop straight out. They go in right there, and I think right there. And then all that you just kind of work it out and it pops straight out. On both sides of the tank, once you get the plastics off, there's a 10mm bolt right here that holds this piece of fairing, this front fender fairing on to the tank. Next, you'll want to remove these 2 10mm bolts, and this just slides right out. Once you unbolt those, the tank will lift up, and there is a plug here, and it goes right there in that white plug. You have to unplug that. That's for your fuel gauge. And then there's another fuel line right there. It's kind of hard to hold the phone and do all this at the same time. With the sides, you have to pinch it in, and it slides out. And on the left side, there's right in there, if you can see them, there's 2 hoses. I just disconnected it from this side over here. Plugs in right there on that nipple right there, right behind all that. And then the other one's just a drain, and it goes straight down behind all this right here. I'm just gonna leave it connected and pull it straight up. I got the tank off, and I forgot to mention the plug for the fuel pump. There's a fuel pump, and then there's a fuel gauge. So if you want to change just the air filter, you'll undo this screw here, and this slides. This slides up like that. That's that. The next step to remove the air box, I had to loosen the 2 clamps on the bottom that go over the throttle bodies. And then I just pulled straight up, and it popped right off. Next, before you can move the coils, you have to remove these 8mm bolts. It has that little piece of metal that holds the coil in place. There'll be 1 on each side. I've already removed that one. In order to get these out, what helped me was to just remove this little pin here. Oh, where'd it go? And anyway, you just unplug that right there. And then you can spin these around. I put a tiny bit of WD-40 to kind of help spin them around, and then worked them up, and they just pulled right out. Just kind of twist and pull up, and it comes straight out like that. What worked best for me to get the spark plugs out was I use a 5/8 spark plug socket. You drop it in there first, and then you use a short extension then you just ratchet it. Spark plug would not stick into the spark plug socket. So what I used was a magnet. Just dropped it down in there, and I could pull the spark plug out that way. Now the plugs that come out of them are a torch. Let's see, torch CR8E1. I'm gonna replace those with NGK CR8E. I think they're XI, CRE XI. The manual says to do the spark plug clearance in between 0.027 inches and 0.035 inches. And then also it says to tighten these spark plugs down to 15 Newton meters, which converts to about 11 foot-pounds. When you push these coils, the coil packs back over, they will, if you push real hard, they will seat all the way down. You just got to get on top of it and really push. And that's it. I got new spark plugs in. Pretty much everything just goes back reverse order.